So fuck me. When you said this was made by Final Fantasy people and composed by Nobuo Uematsu, I was like, nah, don't be stupid. This is the most Final Fantasy menu music I've ever heard.
Yeah, no, and that's what I said. I was just like, everything about the intro, like, it's not like spitting night and day like Final Fantasy VII vibes or anything.
No.
But it just feels so Final Fantasy. Like, it feels like the most Final Fantasy thing I've played in a very long time, including all of the Final Fantasies that have released in the last few years.
This song specifically is like the dun 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 da 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 da.
So, in the App Store, it describes it as a diorama RPG. Don't know what that means.
I'm gonna guess it means Link's Awakening HD.
I don't know if that means, like, dioramas play a place in the story, or that this little desert town you're looking at here is just like, oh, it's like a diorama, and I'm like, yeah, sure, 3D town.
I think that's where they go, because again, they're doing that split shift focus thing, which makes everything look like a toy town.
Right. Yeah, so I don't know, but you want to...
I guess.
I've played through the intro, and I have not played past the first, we'll call it the first diorama there.
Sure.
So,
the first diorama.
All right, you ready for some cutscene?
I'm so ready. So, if people aren't aware, by the way, when we said Final Fantasy, it's Hironobu Sakaguchi, Takatoshi Goto, Masahito Inoue, Nobuo Uematsu composing. Like, it's the Final Fantasy boys.
Right, it's all the Final Fantasy guys who left Square and started Mistwalker, and to my knowledge, have not had an actually successful game since.
Yeah, it's like...
Oh, hold on, taking this music.
Fuck off.
It's got that little high-pitched wheel to it.
Like 100% the intro of FF7.
It's like, just change the answers a little bit.
Right.
Like, it never hits quite that level of majesty in this intro, but it is definitely pulling a vibe.
And specifically, weirdly, if anything, that, like, first FF7 remake trailer?
Right.
Which is, like, particularly weird, because they were way out of the company by that point. Yeah, it's like almost there, huh? And then never quite.
Right. And it's like, I don't know, it's like, it's budget, because I mean, it's made for a phone. Like, I think it's only made for phone. I didn't see any other port kind of thing coming. I guarantee you'll see this one Switch in the next, like, 5 years, though.
I really hope so, because I thought, like, oh, surely there's, like, a way I can get Apple Arcade on a non-iOS device. No. Oh, the Death Star? Oh, the Death Star!
Hold on, listen. It's just...
Wow!
It's like I heard Final Fantasy in a dream. But yeah, this whole fucking, like, outlook here. You got the Death Star, you got this weird arch thing in the foreground, you got Mushroom City, and then a big boom.
And it's a really weird one, because it's like, they're not copying, because they're copying themselves.
Right. It's just like, that's who I associate this with, so it's just...
Right. I also think it's really funny that the protagonist just looks like 2B from Nier Automata.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah, I was gonna mention that as well.
Oh, right down to the fonts, man. I bet.
So, yeah, it's just... There you go.
We wanted to leave Square Enix to do adventurous new projects. What we've made is Nier Fantasy 7.
So you tell me if I'm going too fast, or
nah,
if you want to read this out loud.
I think we'll, if there's anything of note, I'll point it out.
Yeah, there's not too much, like, story bits here. But it's just like it just I don't know. It just feels like I'm like I've played this before,
Right.
but especially because I'm playing with the controller right now. But if you use the touchscreen, it's particularly interesting.
Okay.
So here we go, and now you get to see their beautiful battle system.
Yep.
And it's like I think it is just like a straight up JPEG background. Standing on
Jesus, which again is like big Final Fantasy VII vibes. Yeah.
Right. But it's like I do wish this was like a environment with like a dynamic camera, because this is the only view you really get of them.
Really?
Yeah. So,
That's
but I mean,
rough.
it's a phone RPG. It is not, but they are definitely going for like a console style RPG. Just like
Yeah, and there's like 100%
PS1.
phone RPGs that have dynamic cameras as well.
Right. So
I'm
gonna skip.
Oh,
I'm gonna just
even this
pop through
music
this.
is the bombing mission battle music.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. All right, Nobu, I see what you're going for.
Yeah.
This is made retroactively even funnier by the fact that recently they announced like mobile version of Final Fantasy VII.
Right. All right. So, you get this barrier. Like, I think that is a big part of how they have their battle system set up.
Okay.
And so you see under my name, I got a little triangle with a little hexagon, and it's, that's my barrier.
Gotcha.
And it just blocks shots from people. We'll skip through this so it's not super boring. I've mostly skipped through most of the tutorials. So what's fun to note is if I go back where it has like the little slash icon, if you're using a touchscreen on this, you would touch the slash icon and then it would give you this radius, and then you just move your finger up and down to target wherever you're targeting. So it's like you got skills and all that, and leads through your stuff so you can take out multiple guys. And then your little robot buddy has barriers, and it seems this first area is very heavy on like you got to use the barrier.
Right. Okay.
So
you want a shield.
Yeah.
So for obviously there's the swipe mechanics and stuff for if you're playing without a controller. Have you, in the bit you played up to, what I guess I'm asking is like when do you go, oh, mobile game? Like, is there a gacha, or like is there like a comeback tomorrow for the rest of the story?
I don't think it does say part 1, but the thing with Apple Arcade games are supposed to be like no microtransactions.
Oh, really?
So that said,
oh,
I have noticed that there's a lot of treasure chests that are locked, and it says you don't have an iron key or a mechanic key. And it's like, so I'm like, that feels like it had some
that could
some
either be come back here later
in its blood.
Yeah, or pay money, like.
Right.
Okay.
So it gets very that. But I mean, like if I was talking less and just like flowing through this battle, it's like it feels like a turn-based battle. Like it doesn't feel bad.
Right. And I'm not necessarily opposed to like little sort of things to mix up combat either. I think like Chrono Trigger, Mario RPG, like having a little bit of button input makes repetitive turn-based a little bit less boring.
Yeah, for sure.
So I guess the slashes and stuff.
Yeah, and I mean it's a skill use, and you still have a regular just attack.
Oh yeah.
And it's like I don't know if this robot buddy is like your long-term friend or not. But, it's the story has been very much like, oh, you hacked me and you put me together, and it's like cool.
Excellent. Thank you, C3PO. Before that thing gets here, it's going to be man.
Right.
It's going to be the ultimate enemy, man.
Man was the monster all along. So if you are moving with the touchscreen, I'll show it here for a second, is you just tap where you go. It's not like digital joystick kind of thing.
Good,
but
actually, legitimately.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't enjoy digital joysticks, and it seems like it would be fine, but now it doesn't seem like it wants to let me use my controller again.
You went out of controller mode.
It went all at once. So anyway, let's explore the menu, because you get your little diorama thing.
Oh yeah.
And so it says, I kind of skipped through it, but it's like you can skip to any of these little arrow locations. So it's like I can go over here and tap the arrow, but when I have the controller, I couldn't just like move over to the arrow. So I'm like, is that a feature that I just can't do with a controller?
Possibly,
so, But but with a controller, it moves the way you feel it would. But there is no run button that I could discover. So
okay.
So here you go. You got your save slot.
I do love a character portrait in a save profile, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah, honestly, seeing everything feels, again, very PS1 era JRPG.
Yeah.
And it's like, that kind of feels good to like see, because I miss it.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And this feels a little more like ground up experience than like a lot of like those Square, kind of like half-ass like RPGs. They're like, these are kind of like throwback ones, and I'm like, yeah, but they're also not being innovative. You're just ripping out things I like, but you're not giving me any of the stuff that made me like it. Ooh. So the camera does these shifts, and it feels terrible.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know if these are real like locations that they tried to create and are using real camera angles. But like, whether or not you're on your phone in your hand, or like sending it out HDMI like I am right now, it does not feel good.
Yeah, the blurs. So if you can trigger it again, I have a theory. Well, we'll go to a battle. Although the battles actually kind of tie into my theory. I think you're 100% correct about the background being a JPEG here.
Yeah.
And I think it's not just the battles. I think everything is a JPEG with 3D/GIF overlay.
Yeah.
I think there's a certain quality to those scene transitions which feel like that.
They feel like digital pictures being like dissolved.
It dissolved, and like they've done like 10 frames. What I think they've done is they've created this inner 3D space, and then to save space have taken images of the pictures, and that transition is a like 3-stage, like 6 pictures made into a transition with a blur effect.
Right. Yeah, I 100% agree.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure that's what's happening. Which
is smart. It's exactly what FF7 did.
Right. It has moments where, again, I don't know, there's like a nostalgia to it that I feel is unintentional.
Right. It's just, it's like whether they wanted to capture a PS1 experience, or whether they're 50-year-old dudes who haven't made a game since the PS1.
Right, or if they're just like, it used to work just fine, the kids never complained.
Everyone liked it back in 97, why should we change it now?
So, but yeah, I mean, it's, it feels serviceable, and we'll go through this dungeon and show a couple of the like things that they throw at it that I'm like, oh, like that's an extra attention to detail that I like.
Right.
But yeah, it's like, now we have a zoomed in version where you can see it's like even more pixelated from its little JPEG thing. But yeah, also still that music.
Very FF7 bombing mission. There's also a vibe of FF8 to it, which I suppose makes sense as well. Not to the music so much, but to the... I can't even explain it. Maybe the way that... Because they've got the tall characters, which is more FF8 than FF7.
Right, because they're a little... Like, they're not super detailed, but they are more like, I guess, human... characteristics of like measurements to their bodies.
Yeah, definitely more human proportions. Yeah, like I feel like all those blue things are probably 3D assets, and then everything else is the illusion of 3D.
Right. I mean, they might be 3D like video assets, but they might just be more like, like GIF, JPEG kind of deal.
Right. Yeah. I think we're looking at about 8 or 9 layers of just like GIFs and JPEGs.
Mm-hmm. I feel pretty comfortable like saying that is most likely what they're doing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like I heard about this in like the recesses of my brain as time has gone on. But
I don't know if I've ever
totally
heard the name.
Didn't even remember. Yeah, I was just like, oh yeah, I feel like maybe I heard about that. But also, there's so many games that have like fantasy, Fantasia kind of shit in their names, especially on mobile. So it's just like, am I just thinking about Mickey Mouse like doing the Fantasia or like what's happening?
Yeah, because I feel like I've known of Mistwalker for a while, but I don't know if I just missed this. I guess so. Apparently, it was announced during the Apple Arcade announcement in 2019, and I 100% wouldn't have been watching that because I'd have just been like, Apple Arcade don't care.
Right. I mean, I haven't had any. I literally was listening to an episode of Giant Bomb Bombcast, and they were just like, oh yeah, Apple Arcade's got a bunch of stuff coming out, and they're like, yeah, that Final Fantasy game. I was like, do I know about this?
What?
and full disclosure, I've been paying for Apple Arcade since it released, and I do not play mobile games.
Right.
So,
but you got it.
Like I almost never play mobile games, so just the whole idea was just like, what have I done?
That's so wild. So apparently, yes, Diorama is because Sakaguchi is a huge fucking nerd for making miniatures.
I mean, I'm a tokusatsu nerd at the end of the day, so miniatures are after my heart. But...
Oh, this is kind of fucking cool, actually.
What's up?
Fantasian uses handcrafted dioramas.
See, I was thinking that, right? That's what I said. I was like, did they take pictures of real things?
Then they used a drone with 3D scanning technology to digitally recreate miniature sets built by hand. That's kind of fucking neat, and like it's completely unnecessary, but kind of neat.
Yeah, I feel like you could have just made the thing, but fucking George Lucas it up, guys.
Honestly, I would have preferred if they hadn't have gone the cowardice route and just taken actual pictures of all the models and then just had some 3D assets.
Right, yeah, I think I'm feeling that more. Alright, so my little man just hacked this guy.
Yeah.
As the claw...
He keeps clipping through the
He just clips through the platform. Yep.
Okay.
So the thing's like, hey, I fixed it. And now the drone is just chucking shipping crates at a fucking, I don't know, medical vial.
Like everyone's favorite part of Final Fantasy VII where you had to move the fucking hand.
Right. But it creates this scenario, which I do find fun, which is a little like half quick time event.
Whee! Oh, that's pretty cool.
He's like, see y'all.
Oh god, the camera is
just
intense.
because I can.
That's so good.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I feel like that's the only thing that's like really like bugging me.
Yeah.
Is these camera transitions because they feel super unnatural.
Yeah.
I feel like most of the other stuff I can like kind of wave away a bit and just be like, it's a mobile game.
But that is, I think if anything, they just took the motion blur off, it would be a little bit less like, ugh. Yeah,
it like. I would almost rather just like go to a black screen and come back, like Final Fantasy VII or Final Fantasy VIII, where you're going from them pre-rendered screens that kind of like.
Or just fucking Resident Evil it, because obviously it's not loading. It's just doing a transition for the thing. So just have it do Resident Evil and just put you insta change kind of thing.
Like it feels really bad on the phone, but having it like blown up a little bit. It's just like instant motion sickness. And like I don't get motion sickness. It just feels real bad.
Yeah, definitely. I do like the robot designs. They're kind of.
He's got a little pop belly.
He does. Yeah.
Like, I kind of like him. He's a little bit of a chubby boy.
Oh. Okay.
I mean, it's not a scorpion, but.
It's So it's a Midgar Zalom. It's also tough. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say just that transition screen. Like sometimes it's really smooth, and then sometimes it's really choppy.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was going to say because we're doing this obviously over Discord, it's hard to tell. So, like, I was looking at some of the bridge and stuff then, and I'm like, is that a low quality asset or is that just Discord? This thing looks fine, you know.
Yeah. Like I'm fine with like the overall designs I've seen so far.
Yeah.
So like the gist of what they're babbling about is like, hey, I got a, you know, his big things are going to hit us pretty hard. You might want to put that barrier up. So the barrier seems like it's a very, I don't know, at least at this point, a very big part of the battle.
Yeah. It's like, hey, use your shield. You will need this.
Yeah. And so it's like, I don't know how deep that goes past this little introductory stage.
Right.
So, also I should point out the Phoenix feather.
Nice. But I don't know if I've ever told about this in the videos. I feel like I must have, but I'll repeat myself in case. Do you know how many years it was until I realized that it wasn't called a Phoenix down because your character was down?
It's
like the down of a duck or whatever, and I'm like, oh, that makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, I mean, I did the same thing.
I mean, I guess it's like maybe a double entendre kind of thing, but I didn't know that. I was like, oh, down, like duck down, goose down. Okay. Nice. So I'm wondering also, because of the type of turn-based that I like, where you get a heads up on whose turn it is, if there's going to be like in Final Fantasy X, where you can use haste to like have a couple extra turns, or slow that'll change the order up so that the enemy's attacking less often and stuff.
Right. Yeah, and there might be, but I haven't gotten not confirm or deny that. But yeah, it definitely seems like it's probably something, because if you look at like our stagger amount, I get 2 turns before the enemy does.
Right. Oh yeah.
So, but they also gave me a little like, ooh, we're gonna throw environmental stuff in there. You know, and I'm sure that's only like very specific instances, but
yeah, that's
you know,
cool. Oh Jesus. Uh-oh.
Repair droids.
What are we gonna do? Alright, 2B, you did it. 2B, R2D2, and C3APO. You nailed it.
It's like, let's get to the elevator.
Yeah. Are you gonna set a bomb? Is there gonna be a timer? Is there gonna be...
This is where expletives get shouted at you as you travel up and down. And
fucking no good merc.
All right, so here's the thing that again makes me be like, are you going to slip some microtransactions, or did you used to be a microtransaction game?
Right.
Because use Healstone.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
You know, like look at that icon. Look at the way this menu is set up. It just screams like, "Oh, we were gonna have some."
Yeah. Before Apple
wait
went,
for your Healstone.
We're gonna try and corner the market by not selling microtransactions, and they were like, "Oh,
right,
okay."
So I can go to this chest, and it's like, here's 1,000 G, and then you go to this one. And you're like, well, what's the little lock symbol? Machine key. It just got that vibe. And in the next area you go to, it says iron key. And you're just like, well, I don't know what any of those either.
Right. And like, unless, like, to be charitable, let's say it's not microtransactions. I really am not a fan of a lot of games that are like, oh, you're going to come back to this at the end of the game. Because it's like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm probably fucking not. Because I want to beat the game. I'm not asked about going back to get this chest that has made me feel incomplete since I saw it.
I mean, I typically do. I get excited about those things.
It depends at what point I'm at. Like the point in FF7 Remake where they're like, you could go over the wall and like fight Sephiroth, or you could go chocobo racing, and I'm like, I'm gonna go over the fucking wall, I think.
Right, yeah.
Not even chocobo racing, like chocobo gathering.
Right. I felt compelled to complete every side quest in Final Fantasy VII Remake just to say, I saw it.
That's my PS5 plan.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, the biggest shame in that remake is the fact that all of those side missions are fucking terrible.
Right.
Except for like the last set that you can do.
Yeah.
And then at that point, it's like, I do not want to do these. I'm kind of done with this game.
I would like to go over that wall and do fightings and end this.
Yeah. So they're like, hey, you had a warp thing you told us about, because of course this guy's an amnesiac.
Right. Naturally.
He don't know why he's got robot buddies. He just knows they said, hey, you reprogrammed us.
This is going to be the big twist, is that you were evil and you cast aside your memories and you made the robots that are killing you.
Right.
I also we were talking about microtransactions. Did you ever see that fucking Harry Potter mobile games like microtransaction bullshit?
Oh yeah, no, the Pokemon Go Harry Potter edition?
No, there was like another game that was like before the Pokemon Go one. So like it's like Hogwarts Mysteries or some fucking bullshit, right? And the game's just standard. You go through the game, but the way that it got, and it was like primarily marketed to kids, right? If you like failed and didn't, the microtransaction screen was your character being slowly choked to death with like, would you like to spend?
Do you want to spend money, or do you want to watch your character be brutally murdered in front of you?
12-year-old Hogwarts student get fucking completely murdered by a plant. GG.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. It's like the most like, give me your credit card or I'll kill the thing you love I've ever seen.
Right. Like we're holding him at fucking gunpoint.
Right. Yeah, just got a gun to like Dobby's head to give me a fucking credit card information. Very excited for the Final Fantasy VII mobile game where if I don't buy enough swords, they put Tifa in an acid bath.
Jesus. I mean, that's my thing. Like, I do not play mobile games.
Yeah.
And so like going through this is just like, okay, cool. And it's like, you know, there's a very small handful of mobile games that I've given like the time of day.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, this is the thing I always feel like I want. And it's like, and maybe I will adapt to just like playing through it on my phone, like touching it when I'm like, you know, got downtime at work or, you know, I'm on a car ride or something, but I just don't see it happening.
Right. I think
it doesn't seem bad. Like it's super interesting. And it's like for something that I didn't know existed like 2 weeks ago, I was just like, huh, look at this.
This is a game and it isn't complete dog shit. It's probably not great, but you know, I think that's why yeah, because I'm the same with mobile games, because even the mobile games of things I like are always kind of fucking awful. Like, oh, Kingdom Hearts mobile game? Oh no. Oh no.
Right. And it's like, oh, I can put a controller, use a controller input.
Right.
But it's like, oh yeah, now I'm like carrying a fucking controller around with me.
Right. And I mean, I guess you could kind of like, you know, because it's Apple Arcade, I think works on like MacBook, maybe?
I think the newer Macs you can run everything natively.
Yeah, so like there's that, or like TV casting, I guess, but then it's kind of like, well, then it's not really a mobile game, it's a Switch game.
Right, then you're casting your TV, and then and I think you can do it on Apple TV. You can hook that up in your living room and sync your controller. Right. All right, so I got this lightning fragment after I went up the elevator. I don't know if I'm supposed to use it on this guy, but he's a robot.
It's a robot, yeah, exactly.
He seems like that. He didn't like that very much.
He wasn't a big fan of that.
So let's give him another and say like, hey, here's another, and now you're dead.
Oh, literally dead. Wow. I've been playing this Digimon game, and like every dungeon has these big, like, scary Digimon. But like you can really easily farm these power worms, which is like basically like an anti-buff, a debuff.
Right.
That's what they call it in the industry, and it makes them just laughable because you like throw one at them, and it's like they do 0 damage to you anymore. It's like, oh, okay.
So now this thing has died twice and is coming after me a third time. But I got my special warp device.
Oh, right. You can go back to Dagobah now.
And my robot buddies are like, ooh, sexy lady with a mole.
Oh. Okay.
To be.
Ah.
Also, that little logo on his shirt, is that like the logo from the bouncer? Like,
oh my god, it super does look like the bouncer.
Or like, who's the dude in Final Fantasy VIII with the face tat?
Zell?
Zell, yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like his face tat.
It definitely does.